Hello, everyone. I'm Svetlana. Here I go by the nickname Lana Lebedinskaya, and I'm the founder of Angel Swag Video Production and AI. I'm also the creator of the YouTube channels Angel Swag News and Angel Swag Finance. For a long time, I was an author of full automation chatbots, and Tatiana and I decided to discuss how this will affect business because many people right now haven't even heard of many of the basic things like chatbots or ChatGPT, while others are actively using them. So we're here today to bring this topic to you.
Super. I'm so glad you responded to my call to do a live stream. You're someone who's inside this technology. As you see it, are entrepreneurs today more inspired or scared by artificial intelligence?
It's both, but mostly they're just confused because we, people from the Soviet Union, mostly those who run businesses or Zoomers, they're in a state of great confusion because many think that in order to use neural networks, you need IT skills or, to know prompt engineering 100%. So for many, this creates a dissonance.
Right?
And it's very difficult to constantly retrain because the speed at which these technologies are developing is so high that we have to catch these updates every single day. I mean, on my own YouTube channel, when I start preparing new reviews on neural networks, I realized that yesterday Midjourney was only giving out images, and today it's already generating full-fledged video. You're just sitting there.
You can't keep up, right?
Yeah, you can't keep up. Plus, ChatGPT is constantly updating its functions, and you realize that if we started in 2022 by just writing a prompt for some script or some simple text, now you can already generate sound, voices, adapt your applications, write code for your applications, integrate images, diagrams. Well, in short, the spectrum is huge. But that's just an example because in reality, there are so many more neural networks, and you realize you can't keep up with everything. You need some kind of universal solution to somehow adapt to all of this.
So tell me, artificial intelligence, do you think it does things better than a person for business, for example? Or is a person still better than artificial intelligence, specifically when it comes to business?
There's a great phrase that says artificial intelligence is like a smartphone in the 2000s. You know, when we all just got that little phone in our hands, we didn't think that this little phone would turn into an entire business in our pocket. And it's the same with artificial intelligence. Neural networks, large language models, they supplement what we can enhance. If you take, for example, my work where I have to, say, adapt a script, write video content, and then launch it all on social media, it helps me to be faster, more adaptive, and to watch the trends. Somewhere you can connect agents and all that. And if, for example, you look at it in general, any business always has an idea. If you are a real entrepreneur, you are motivated, you know what you are living with. That no artificial intelligence will develop this idea for you. You give the first grain.
Thoughts, huh? And then you train him to suit yourself, right?
Yes. Then you start to spin it up. So you have an idea, you want to develop it, you want to scale it, you start writing your MVP. And already in the GPT part, you start either in Perplexity or in Gemini or in Claude, you start this idea. If there are similar ideas somewhere else, what percentage can you get?
Get that is artificial intelligence works more for you than as a person who provides the core, so to speak.
If you're doing analytics now, who will win? If superintelligence appears, that's one thing there, IGI. All the same, if a person is creative, if he is artistic, no artificial intelligence can replace him because artificial intelligence is an automator. It performs more machine-like actions. The soul is carried by a person, an entrepreneur.
An interesting thought just came to mind. For example, if you compare school, when a child goes to school, he learns basic things. In fact, artificial intelligence is now helping with the base. Some, yes, but if, for example, a child doesn't take his inner things, yes, some, I don't know what he received from birth, this inner core, yes, then after school he chooses a path, for example, to go into business or go to work for someone else or something else. Yes, that is, if there is no inner core, then in fact, school and universities and everything else does not work because it serves as a basic one that helps a person go and develop.
The great minds of Silicon Valley are now teaching their children programming because it is the correct way to understand artificial intelligence. But at the same time, they also introduce creativity into children's activities. And I want to tell you that I will also implement these skills and constantly test them because, yes, now academic education will lose its meaning because many will already be wondering why I need it if all the information is in the same GPT chat. But again, we need to take into account that there will be restrictions and some information will be disabled in some places. That is, we will not be able to receive 100% according to the tariff we use. We will not be able to always receive high quality information. But there is another version that they will give us general access to all the information and we will be able to test and watch it all. But there are different opinions on this. So,
And how do you see it, for example, if we compare Google today and uh, the idea that ChatGPT is the second Google?
uh, OpenAI announced this on October 21st that they will be launching a new search engine, Atlas. But the issue here is confidential data protection, because if you go into ChatGPT now and type "find me a restaurant," it pulls up search results with different locations. But when Atlas launches, it will be on a completely different scale and we'll see a totally different approach. I mean, with prices, reviews, plus recommendations, yes, maybe it will even tell you whether you should go there or not. Who will drive the traffic?
Who gets the referral first, right? Like, by the way, a new idea just came to me. If today, for example, from my perspective in marketing and all that, if Google Maps works for an offline business today, right? It would be cool if they implemented, yes, what you're saying about Atlas, where a person goes, let's say, to Google Maps and sees, for instance, in a restaurant. For example, this idea just came to me. In the restaurant, let's say there's, well, I don't know, a phone, so to speak, that's live streaming the restaurant, right? And if a person wants to, say, go to this restaurant, they go through, let's say, ChatGPT, then it redirects them to Atlas and they can see the atmosphere of that restaurant for this evening. And this way, for example, competition will start between restaurants, which will raise the level of service. For me to want to go there, I have to like the atmosphere itself through the live stream, right? What people are eating, how they're being served, if people are waiting for 3 hours and so on. And so, because of the competition between, say, establishments in this case, the level of business will grow, and it will grow in terms of providing better quality food, providing better quality service, and so on. Well, if we're talking about offline business, for service, I think it would work great for restaurants.
I want to tell you, when I was preparing for this stream, it was interesting to think about how advertising and everything else will work, especially when this Google Atlas is introduced. And we touched on the topic of AI agents. When your client comes to you, they will already be interacting with your AI agent, which is configured for your establishment. Yes, it's going to be a very interesting topic. I'd like to study it a bit more, but that's the direction we're heading. Right now, algorithms work, they bring a client to you, but it's not 100% your client because whether we want it or not, ads are pushed on us. But if they now configure these AI agents correctly, it means your client will 100% end up in your restaurant because it's already their vision, their desire to go there.
For the client, it's a new level, right? Like, wow, I can just go in and see, oh, that's cool. On one hand. On the other hand, people who aren't yet used to being in the public eye, like bloggers who show their life, where they live, what they do, completely opening up. People might not want to, let's say, sit in that restaurant, not until there's this mindset here that, like, this is normal. But I think we'll get there. Well, there will also be live streams like you watch, and then you either go to that establishment or you don't. By the way, for offline businesses, Google Maps works really well, so it should be used to the maximum. What would you advise in general? You're an expert in artificial intelligence. What would you advise, for example, in sales for those who have just started selling or they found their product and started selling? They're using scripts, using everything. They've started using bots. What would you advise on how to implement, for example, artificial intelligence in sales? Do you need a separate expert like you who will just set everything up there? But one is definitely needed, right, to automate the sales process itself.
A hot topic for me right now is the implementation of AI avatars. Well, TikTok, Instagram, many bloggers are already fully digitized now. And in marketing, it's a very big problem to make a great video for one video so that everyone buys and sells from you. Therefore, UGC avatars are digital avatars that you can, with one face, make 50 videos, test them, and save tens of thousands of dollars on the budget. Regarding sales automation, well, call centers are now actively automating their programs with the help of AI agents. That is, well, sometimes, of course, it's annoying when an AI agent answers you. It's
Just now, by the way, I got a call from Ukraine. They're already making a bot like that. Well, I mean, an agent that sounds like a person calling you. And somewhere around the 30th second, you realize it's not a person. That is, it even speaks with errors sometimes. Well, it's not perfect speech. I had this happen just recently, and at first I didn't realize it was a bot because the speech was, well, like a normal person's. And then at some point I realized it was a bot.
There are nuances. It's a matter of time, meaning they will set up the orchestration, test it, the entire language delivery. There are advanced IT companies that, for example, make such AI bots that you can't distinguish from a real person. I mean, you even agree to buy from this AI bot. Well, we're just getting there slowly, but we're already approaching it. Chatbots are being actively implemented now, yes. Well, that's a normal thing, meaning many people there who don't have a chatbot, well, they don't understand how you can manually reply to messages. When I was getting certified on Maycom for automation, for example, I was interested in how these calls are connected to the cloud, so you wouldn't have to manually transfer that storage with you all the time. How tax reports could be automated. So I went through it step by step. I looked into it. Then it became more and more interesting to me how to automate my own videos. You just want to press a button and there the prompt is written and a finished video just pops up on the screen.
Yes.
Well, we're still in the process. We're not 100% ready yet. But it's very interesting, and you really understand how far you've come and how much you can already cut down the time on all these routine tasks. Plus, you can reduce staff, which of course is bad for some, but good for others. But for a business, for example, it's good because they need to save money on their employee budget.
On employees. Okay. And for example, okay, let's say you've made avatars. Have you analyzed, for example, how many views videos with avatars get compared to videos where a person films themselves?
It varies. I mean, I've had cases where the avatar got more views, and some people even joked on my channel that it's interesting to listen to an AI talk about AI. So, yeah, even that happened. They get views differently. I wouldn't say it's bad or good, but many people are actually interested in watching it. So, maybe because it's still a novelty, they watch it with more interest. When it becomes commonplace, then we'll just be watching them like we watch each other, and well, the views will be normal. It all depends on what voice you chose, what text you used, how you planned the marketing strategy that it will voice. And well, music and editing also play a role, so I think it will all be fine. So the only thing is that the internet could become lifeless.
What do you mean?
It means that people will stop working, like you and I going live, and our digital doubles will go on for us. That's where the idea of a dead internet comes from, soulless, as they say.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that digital doubles might, get views at first, but then it will just fade away because people still want to interact with, well, a person, right, with a soul, and not just with an avatar that will just be blinking and reciting a pre-written text, right?
It's a matter of time. There's this great blogger, Lil Michaela. She has millions of subscribers. She's not a real person at all. People are just interested in following her lifestyle. But there are downsides because that lifestyle is being presented to you by a non-living person. I think that everything will adapt, even these digital avatars and their promotion, views, and everything else. It all depends on the demand and what product you're aiming for, what's your target audience, right? You can even go live with a real person, but no one will listen to you, no one will see you. It's all a matter of skills and creativity.
Uh-huh.
So everything works. The reason I mentioned digital avatars is because many companies are now releasing educational video clips, training videos with digital teachers. For example, we recently did an interview with a girl from Greece. She completely created a platform where digital teachers teach children digital literacy, financial literacy. I'll tell you, it's actually quite amusing because kids, for example, are more interested in watching these fairy tale like avatars than, say, boring teachers.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually, in the form of cartoons. Specifically, I haven't created avatars. It's very interesting because, for example, I run my own page and all the videos that I shoot them separately. I set aside a day for it and shoot them. I'm interested, yes, from the point of view of creating an avatar and how it will work for views, for whether it will really attract sales, and to compare, for example, how it works from the point of view of, say, when I shoot reels myself and edit them, and from the point of view of an avatar, and what, for example, people will react to more, not even from the point of view of views, but in the final result of buying the product. This is very interesting. Views are all great. Yes, a lot of people see you. It's more about brand development, about developing you, and in the end, you get clients. But it happens that there are 100 views and 20 people bought your product. So I'm more for the result. And it would be cool to test, for example, if you made an avatar for some expert and compared how the sales were before and after, with the introduction of this new feature. And well, it would be cool to see, how much an AI avatar affects sales.
We can try.
Yeah, you know why? Because, for example, if it really works better than, say, the person themselves, telling the story, going out, spending time on it. So, for example, to shoot 20 reels, with my experience of not shooting for the first day, I spent the last time. And by the end of the 20th reel, when I post it, I can already see, okay, I'm tired here. So you can already see that the voice has dropped a bit. The energy isn't the same. Well, I mean, you can see all these moments. I see them because I know myself. And anyway, this is transmitted to the audience. When you deliver information with energy, right? You're selling this. Anyway, energy is important. You have to convey information in a way that makes someone want to buy from you, right? To convey it all correctly and with energy. Because if there's no energy, you'll be, not talking. You'll just need to rest. And I'm interested, for example, how this works from the perspective of an avatar specifically for experts and what the sales are like after all of that. That's it. So for analytics, yes, for example, it does a super job. It structures certain things. For instance, if I use ChatGPT now, it really helps. If we're talking specifically about getting sales, increasing sales, then it would be cool to experiment with that.
Well, we'll have to see. Because I, for example, posted on my page what kind of avatars I've had, both AI avatars, and I've also recorded myself, a real avatar. It sparks interest with the audience, but the audience sometimes peeks and wonders, who is that? Is it you or not you, for example? Well, if you, for example, recorded 20 reels, you're tired by the 20th one.
And I didn't say how long it took us to shoot it. It was 3 or 4 hours, I think. And that's with me having a prepared text, meaning for every reel, the text was already ready. So I fully prepared. Well, in short, I prepared as much as possible for what I needed to film. And that took up to 4 hours.
Well, that's without editing.
Without editing, yes. And again, when you're explaining all this, you get tired, right? Shooting for 4 hours straight.
Many of my videos are translated with the help of AI. And I want to tell you, when I'm speaking in English, people don't know that it's not me speaking. So the face stays the same. It's just the pronunciation that changes. That's all.
I like that you really save time and money, which is important for business.
Yes, and this topic is only gaining momentum because when I was just starting to study, what digital avatars would be like somewhere around 2021, it seemed like something so far away. And now just a couple of years have passed and they're already everywhere. I mean, the developers are updating all the technical specs on these platforms so quickly. And the avatar just appears on screen. It shows a product, cosmetics. It doesn't matter what it's showing, but it reads the script so well. So these UGC avatars are really something unique. I recommend you scroll through TikTok too. There are so many of these avatars where you can't even tell it's not a real person.
So what do you think, which professions will be the first to change, with the implementation of AI?
Anything that's a routine task, we're looking at.
Marketing, sales too, right?
Marketing is still a question mark. Sales automation will happen because many will switch to AI agents now. And plus, they'll connect digital avatars to these sales, so you'll see. Well, it's probably better to ask which ones will remain.
Or which ones will remain? Yes.
Well, prompt engineering, meaning those who know how to manage.
Those who can create prompts.
With neural networks, yes, those who can. Creative professions, artists are now in question, meaning I've heard, by the way, there's a great, very accurate list, so I don't have to make things up, from the Global Economic Forum 2030 about which professions will remain by the year 2030. They listed literally a dozen because it all had to do with creativity and those who can manage neural networks, so prompt engineering was included in that. IT will already be transforming. Plumbers will remain.
Yes, home.
Electricians, meaning those who are truly needed in life, that's plumbers, electricians, machine production that produces goods like clothes. Well, that's automation. Doctors will be 50-50, meaning 50% will be AI agents helping to make diagnoses. Because engineering is advancing so far now that they're already restoring cells, not just in the body. They're restoring the retina, meaning gene rejuvenation is happening. So the reverse process has started. So,
A new trend for rejuvenation is happening right now.
right? But doctors will observe and communicate with you. So there's more time for communication. But the conclusion, for example, more of the diagnosis will be done with artificial intelligence, for instance. We'll see a lot of innovations, but you need to understand that layoffs will begin for those who do routine work. That's the first thing, meaning like typing texts, copywriters, that sort of thing.
And what's one habit that will help not to fall behind artificial intelligence?
To learn something new every day. Come to Angel's World News. We're not lazy. We love to constantly look at something new. So we've studied one neural network, then a second, a third. Somewhere we can connect automations. We'll see, we'll test it. The most important thing is self-education. I want to tell you that thanks to, as soon as I saw ChatGPT, all these neural networks, I greatly increased my productivity and curiosity. You know, when you're searching, you need to ask questions and look for answers to them. The most important thing right now is not to fall behind this new world, because if we don't enter this new reality, it will simply swallow us. But if we adapt this new electricity for ourselves, because artificial intelligence is the new electricity, then we'll be able to invent new toasters, new systems that will work for us, that will help us.
So implementing AI in business and in principle in sales, and to help experts, this is to avoid losing clients from an automation standpoint. That is, when a person writes to you, I don't know about Germany, but for example, in Ukraine, people are spoiled in the sense that Ukrainians try to answer quickly, right? Our competition is just so high that we try to provide excellent service. And it's precisely that excellent service that makes a person choose you and not your competitor. This applies to anything, well, high service and quality, right? So if these two factors in sales are working, they are the most important in sales, let's say. Because if there's no quality and service, then, well, there are other people, other companies that will give it to me. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, interesting. I'm just looking at the quality of service in Germany, and it seems
I was just talking to some people who have lived here for 20 years, and they are, you could say, Russian Germans, right? They're actually saying that our appearance in Germany, for example, if we take the beauty industry, it creates competition. And people understand that you either grow, meaning you raise the level of quality and service, or, well, people just choose other people and go there. And that's logical. But that's another topic. If we take the beauty industry now, I can say a lot. Because if you compare Germany and Ukraine from the perspective of the beauty industry, there are two very significant factors. In Ukraine, for example, a professional gets 50% of the profit. A haircut, roughly speaking, for 20 euros, 10 is theirs. In Germany, however, a professional gets a salary which is what? 2,500 euros minus taxes. That's 1,600 at most in hand. And what does that say? That why should I, for example, if I'm just an employee in a salon, it doesn't matter. A barbershop in Germany, it doesn't matter to me if that person comes back to me or not. Why? Because I get 1,600 euros, roughly speaking, right? And that's it. And, well, I can, figuratively speaking, sit around all day and do nothing because it doesn't matter to me that people come here. That's why I don't work. Well, I mean, people's mindset. But in Ukraine, for example, if I don't provide quality, they won't come back to me and I won't get my 50%. And because of that, people train themselves, they do advanced training, and in this way, they make moves and, let's say, provide a quality of service at such a level that the client doesn't go to the competitor. But here it doesn't matter because, well, the person gets 1,600 anyway. And even if they learn to color hair better tomorrow, figuratively speaking, they won't get, say, 1,800 because they're on a minimum salary. And when we understand these things, well, even for business, then sales are restructured. Because when, for example, if you take Germany now at the level of the beauty industry, I would also give a percentage. Well, I mean, okay, there's a base rate, but if you're doing great and people come back to you, you need to give a percentage because that's about sales. You artificially make them think, I need to do quality work, so the person returns, not just paint their hair and think, okay, it's fine if you don't come back because they're just getting a salary. And for the entrepreneur, the owner, it's not profitable for these clients not to return. It's profitable for them to return exactly. And for that to happen, only a percentage-based system will work. But that's, let's say, a different topic we could discuss.
That's interesting to me. Interesting, really. There's just something to compare it to. We're in different worlds right now.
Yeah. So there's something to compare, and it will start to work here too because we have a different mentality, right? We saw life differently, but well, even the basic things in life. And we will actually change. I now, believe, precisely the mindset of some people, and things will change for us. But the main thing is that this, let's say, how to put it, this Ukrainian streak, let's call it, yes, remains with us and doesn't get subdued and changed by Germany.
By the way, I want to point out one more thing. I was at AI Week in Frankfurt, and at the last meeting, they asked a question. Who here already has an AI agent? 99% of the audience raised their hands.
Really? Wow.
They're already setting up entire processes there.
Well, that's motivation. That's very cool. Yes, that's very cool.